Hello, I'm Chris Reed, President of Thomas Construction Group, and I want to welcome you to the Thomas Construction Group family. We are passionate about construction, and we pride ourselves in providing the highest level of excellence in our industry through focusing on three foundational principles: client service, both with quality and integrity; leadership; and dependable delivery. At Thomas, we believe in setting a high standard, both at work and in our daily lives. Safety is an integral part of our culture, and we want to make sure that you're well prepared before setting foot on site, and that you're aware of any potential work hazards. In order to get you started on the right foot, we've prepared this brief safety orientation video so that you are aware of the safety and health regulations, as well as our expectations related to our projects. It is our goal that at the end of every day that you return safely to your friends and family in the same condition that you arrived. So, please pay special attention to the following video. And again, I thank you for your time and commitment.
You are probably anxious to get out in the field and start doing some real work. Construction workers typically don't care to spend much time inside an office or classroom for any extended amount of time, but usually would prefer to be moving around doing their individual tasks. When we move from the shelter of our homes and offices, we will most likely encounter some hazardous or even dangerous situations. As the construction business and the world have progressed into more of a fast-track environment, the number of potential hazards has increased. The Occupational Safety and Health Association, also known as OSHA, has developed a set of guidelines that will help in this cause. They can be found in the Code of Federal Regulations, numbers 29 CFR 1910 and 1926. CFR 1910 was originated to cover general industry, and CFR 1926 was targeted toward construction. This manual has incorporated construction safety and health codes. This is very useful reference material which covers almost any hazard that you may encounter. Thomas Construction Group has developed a safety and health manual that you, as our subcontractor, may use in the event that you don't have your own program. Our manual has been written with requirements that are on a level with OSHA regulations and above. The Safety Orientation Field Package represents an outline of some of the rules and regulations required by Thomas Construction Group for anyone working on our job sites. As you can see, there is a lot of reference material identifying hazards in many different areas. On a Thomas Construction Group site, we are more interested in dealing with site-specific hazards. To identify and control these hazards, each worker or work group must conduct a study of the environment and any hazards that may be conducted in their specific jobs, and then determine the best method to eliminate or protect themselves from such hazards. A job hazard analysis or safe plan of action must be reviewed before work is started. Ideally, after you identify uncontrolled hazards, you will take steps to eliminate or reduce them to an acceptable risk level. OSHA states that the Job Hazard Analysis, or JHA, is a technique that focuses on job tasks as a way to identify hazards before they occur. It focuses on the relationship between workers, the task, the tools, and the work environment. Thomas Construction Group uses a daily huddle before every new task that is encountered on the job site. This is where the JHA is discussed by the crews involved. There is also a daily log that has the safe plan of action attached and is filled out before each job is started. The Safe Plan of Action, or SPA, is a checklist of most potential hazards and the actions to be taken to eliminate, avoid, or protect yourself from them. An accident is the occurrence of an unexpected event. Consequently, if we take time to know the hazards and identify them, there will be no unexpected events. Whenever work is performed, your employer is responsible to have a designated competent person on site. OSHA defines a competent person as one who is capable of identifying existing or predictable hazards in the surrounds or working conditions which are unsanitary, hazardous, or dangerous to employees, and who has authorization to take prompt corrective measures to eliminate them. If you have any questions or feel the least bit uncomfortable or unsafe about the task you are about to perform, stop and consult with your supervisor and/or designated competent person before you go any further. There are a few basic rules you must follow when working on a Thomas Construction Group job site. Thomas Construction Group has zero tolerance for the use of illegal drugs or alcoholic beverages on their job sites. Anyone injured as a result of an accident on the job will be automatically drug tested within 8 hours after the injury. Hard hats must be worn at all times unless otherwise directed by the Thomas Construction Group superintendent. Hats are to be worn as designed, brim in the front, and no baseball caps may be worn under the hard hat. Proper clothing must be worn. Sleeves at a minimum of 4 inches in length and full-length pants. Hard sole shoes or boots must be worn at a minimum unless otherwise directed by the Thomas Construction Group superintendent. Personal protective equipment or PPE such as safety glasses, hearing protection, gloves, face shields, respiratory protection devices, etc. shall be worn in accordance with the requirements of the OSHA Regulations 29 CFR 1926.95 through 107 Subpart E. Reflective safety vests shall be worn when working around heavy equipment, high vehicle traffic areas, or at the Thomas Construction Group superintendent's discretion. Only authorized personnel are permitted to operate equipment or vehicles on site. Current certification is required for forklift operators. No riders on machinery or equipment. Riding in the back, outside of the cab of trucks is prohibited. All heavy equipment with limited visibility must have an operable backup alarm or a spotter when backing up. Seat belts shall be used in all vehicles and equipment that are equipped with them. No one shall enter a trench or excavation over 5 feet deep unless it is properly sloped, shielded, or shored in accordance with the OSHA standard 29 CFR 1926.450 through 454 subpart L and has been inspected by a competent person. Immediately report all accidents, unsafe conditions, or practices to your supervisor. Any individual performing work at a height of 6 feet or more must have fall protection in accordance with OSHA standard 29 CFR 1926.500 through 503 subpart M. All scaffolding is to be erected and maintained by a competent person in a manner consistent with OSHA standard 29 CFR 1926.450 through 454 subpart I. Safety Program. The Thomas Construction Group Safety and Health Manual is available for any subcontractor or sub-tier in the event that they do not have their own safety program. Any rules or regulations in these programs that are greater than the OSHA standards will take precedence over the OSHA standards. The Thomas Construction Group Safety Program requires that anyone injured on the job must choose one of the named physicians or medical facilities listed for that job. If you seek medical treatment elsewhere other than the listed physicians or medical facilities for an on-the-job injury, you will be responsible for your medical bills. Fire extinguisher safety. A fire extinguisher rated not less than 2A shall be provided for each 3,000 square feet of the protected building area. Travel distance from any point of the protected area to the nearest fire extinguisher shall not exceed 100 feet. A fire extinguisher rated not less than 10B shall be provided within 50 feet of wherever more than 5 gallons of flammable or combustible liquids or 5 pounds of flammable gas are being used on the job site. Portable fire extinguishers shall be inspected periodically and maintained in accordance with Maintenance and Use Portable Fire Extinguishers, NFPA number 10A-1970. All fires, no matter how small, must be reported immediately to your supervisor. Try to stay upwind of fire when using a fire extinguisher and use the pass method. Pull the pin, aim the extinguisher at the base of the fire, squeeze the handle, sweep the extinguisher from side to side from outside towards the center of the fire. Hazard communication. Most hazards will fall into 5 broad categories. 1. Flammables and combustibles. 2. Compressed gases. 3. Poisons. 4. Corrosives. 5. Irritants. A hazardous substance can enter the body via 4 routes. 1. Inhalation. 2. Ingestion. 3. Absorption. 4. Injection. Material Safety Data Sheets, or MSDSs, contain the following information. 1. How to properly handle and store. 2. Outline spill cleanup procedures. 3. Medical and first aid procedures. The material safety data sheets are filed in a manual kept in each Thomas Construction Group office trailer and is available for subcontractors' use. Information on chemicals that are actually on the job site is filed in the front of the MSDS manual, including a list or log of all hazardous chemicals on site. All subcontractors must provide a copy of the MSDS for any chemicals that they bring on the job site. All of their personnel must be trained on the HAZCOM program by their employer and understand the hazards of any chemicals that they may be exposed to. All employees must be trained in the Globally Harmonized System, or GHS, which is associated with the Hazard Communication Standards. Emergency Action Plan. In the event of a fire, hurricane, tornado, or other natural catastrophe at our job site, all personnel will evacuate the buildings in an orderly manner and meet at the Thomas Construction Group office trailer. If the trailer is involved in the incident, the secondary muster area will be in the parking lot. Once gathered, each group of workers or subcontractors will be accounted for by a roll call conducted by their supervisor or lead person. This information is to be passed on to the Thomas Construction Group superintendent. Emergency phone numbers and the nearest medical facility are posted on the wall of the Thomas Construction Group office trailer. Typically, 911 is the phone number of choice to call in an emergency situation. Personnel are strictly forbidden to discuss project conditions, incidents, or accidents with the owner, media, press, or any person not directly involved with the emergency. OSHA has determined there are 4 areas in construction that lead all others in the number of accidental injuries and deaths. If OSHA finds you in violation of any safety rules or regulations within the Focus 4 during a site audit or investigation, the citation will most likely be considered as serious, and the fines usually start at around $7,000 per violation. The Focus 4 are as follows: electrical, falls, struck by, and caught between hazards. 1. Electrical. All electrical equipment and power tools must be protected from shock hazards by use of a ground fault circuit interrupter, or GFCI plug, or by double insulation. All electrical power drop cords must have grounding lugs and insulation of wires intact. Nothing under size 12 gauge cords should be used. Cords found defective must be repaired by a qualified person immediately or removed from service by cutting off the male plug end. Ensure that electrical equipment is free from recognized hazards that are likely to cause a serious injury or death to employees. Safety of equipment shall be determined on the basis of 29 CFR 1926.403. Lockout or tagout of energized equipment shall be in accordance with 29 CFR 1910.147 and 1926.803. Competent person required. 2-prong plugs are not permitted in the construction area unless the equipment is double insulated. Periodic inspections of drop cords, GFCIs, corded power tools, and equipment are required with proof of the actual inspections. If the subcontractor does not have a means of documentation of these inspections, we suggest that you use the Thomas Construction Group color code system for documentation. Falls. Thomas Construction Group has set 6 feet as the minimum height above a lower level where fall protection must be used. Guardrail systems, a safety net system, or personal fall arrest systems are all acceptable methods of achieving adequate fall protection. Warning lines with a controlled access zone may be used in some cases. The best system to use can be determined by following the guidelines offered in 29 CFR 1926.500 through 503 subpart M. All persons working at heights must be trained by their employer in the proper use of whatever fall protection system that they are using before starting work. Other areas of falling would include working on ladders, scaffolding, aerial lifts, or simply tripping and falling at ground level. Ladder use is a potential concern for fall hazards. All personnel using ladders must be trained in the proper inspection, care, and use of the type of ladder that they are using. The following are guidelines for using ladders. All ladders must be inspected periodically and prior to use. The use of ladders with broken or missing rungs, broken or split side rails, or other structural damage is prohibited. Portable ladder feet shall be placed on a substantial base at a 4-to-1 pitch with the area around the top and bottom clear and clean at all times. Ladders shall not be used in a horizontal position as a platform, runway, or scaffold. Portable ladders shall be tied off, blocked, or otherwise secured to prevent movement and extend 3 feet above the landing if possible. Avoid the use of metal ladders when the possibility of contact with electrical power exists. Always clean mud or greasy substances from shoes before climbing a ladder. Always face the ladder and maintain a 3-point contact, 1 hand and 2 feet, or 2 hands and 1 foot, while climbing up or down, or just standing. It is dangerous to reach out too far from a ladder in any direction. Keep your center of gravity as close to the ladder as possible. Move the ladder as the work requires. Never step or stand on the second from the top or the top step of a step ladder. Do not use a step ladder as a straight ladder. Open fully in locked position. Always use a ladder as designed. Make sure that all labels, decals, and tags are in place and legible. All ladders must be periodically inspected and documented. If your company does not have a method of documentation, the color code system used by Thomas Construction Group is acceptable for this job site. Struck by and caught between hazards. Struck by injuries are produced by forcible contact or impact between the injured person and an object or piece of equipment. When the impact alone creates the injury, the event is considered as struck. On the other hand, when the injury is created more as a result of crushing injuries between objects, the event is considered as caught. The most common types of struck by hazards are as follows. 1. Struck by flying objects. 2. Struck by falling objects. 3. Struck by swinging objects. And 4. Struck by rolling objects. 1. Flying objects. Flying objects hazard exists when something has been thrown, hurled, or is being propelled across space. It can include instances when a piece of material separates from a tool, machine, or other equipment, striking a worker, resulting in injuries or fatality. Also, a hazard exists if an object is ejected under power by a tool or equipment usually designed for that purpose, such as a nail from a gun. Always remember that the use of compressed air can cause flying object hazards. 2. Falling objects. Falling objects occur when the source of injury is falling from an elevation to a lower level, including instances where the injured person is crushed, pinned, or caught under a falling object, other than collapsing material or structures, resulting from being struck by a falling object or equipment. 3. Swinging objects. Swinging objects occur when materials are mechanically lifted and have the potential to swing and strike workers. As the load is lifted, the materials may swing, twist, or turn. This movement can catch workers by surprise, and they could be hit by the swinging load. Windy conditions are especially hazardous because the load will swing more. Loads must be rigged properly to prevent swinging. 4. Rolling objects. Rolling objects injuries occur when an object, which is rolling, moving, or sliding on the same level at which the worker is located. This includes instances in which the worker is struck or run over by a moving vehicle without being caught under it, or instances in which the worker is struck by a sliding object or equipment on the same level. Working in trenches or deep holes presents the highest risk of being involved in a caught-between accident, which usually results in a very serious injury and often death. Excavation and trenching. Anytime a trench or excavation reaches a depth of 5 feet or more, it must be sloped, benched, shielded, or shored as prescribed in 29 CFR 1926.650 through 652 subpart P. Sloping would not be required if a trench box or shielding is used. Any trenches or excavations exceeding 20 feet must have sloping, shielding, and/or shoring designed by a licensed professional engineer. All trenches and excavations must be maintained and inspected by a competent person before each shift and after a rain or storm. A stairway, ladder, ramp, or other safe means of egress shall be located in trench excavations that are 4 feet or more in depth, so as to require no more than 25 feet of lateral travel for the workers in the trench. All personnel working in or near trench excavations must be trained on that subject. The competent person or his or her supervisor should call 811 and have underground interferences checked out before beginning excavation. A clean job is a safe job. Thomas Construction Group has set our housekeeping expectations way above what has been acceptable in the construction business for years. Housekeeping. Thomas Construction Group holds all subcontractors responsible for continuous cleanup of their work areas. Don't wait till the end of the shift or day to clean up. By continuous cleaning, you will eliminate slip, trip, and fall hazards. Material storage falls under housekeeping. Stored material must be neat and orderly and be sitting on dunnage in most cases. In the event that a company or subcontractor refuses to keep their work areas to our housekeeping standards, the Thomas Construction Group superintendent will hire a crew to perform the necessary cleaning and housekeeping. The cost of the work will be passed on to the subcontractor or company involved. Substance abuse policy. Just a reminder that Thomas Construction Group has zero tolerance for the abuse of illegal substances, taking somebody else's prescribed medication, the use of alcoholic beverages, and the like on the job site. Pre-employment and post-accident drug screening is a requirement for all Thomas Construction Group employees. Safety citation. Thomas Construction Group has a 3 strikes you're out policy with safety citations. You will receive a written warning for your first safety citation due to a violation. Your second offense will result in a written citation and 2 to 3 days off without pay. And the third will result in permanent termination. The penalties depend on the seriousness and/or severity of the violation. Thomas Construction Group reserves the right to terminate any employee for any safety infraction. Accident termination policy. Thomas Construction Group adopts the following policy regarding recurring injuries for the purpose of reducing or eliminating repetitive injuries among employees. If an employee has 3 accidents or injuries which are caused by the employee, or if the employee causes 2 accidents or injuries to another employee within any 12-month period, he or she will receive a written warning from the safety coordinator. The written warning will state that if another accident occurs due to the actions or inactions of the employee within 6 months from the date of the warning, the employee will be terminated. Thomas Construction Group considers safety as the most important part of your job. Our goal is for you to go home uninjured to your family and friends at the end of each workday. This video is designed to cover some basic expectations while working on a Thomas Construction Group job. It is also important for you to review the Thomas Construction Group Safety and Health Manual, your company's safety manual, if available, and the OSHA safety standard and regulations. Thomas Construction Group is dedicated to safety, which is why we are a part of the North Carolina Department of Labor SHARP, Safety and Health Achievement Recognition Program. This program ensures that our job sites are as safe as possible. OSHA members visit our job sites very frequently to ensure that all rules and regulations are being followed. Thomas Construction Group was the first general contractor in the state of North Carolina to receive the SHARP Award. We encourage all of our subcontractors to get involved with this program. Remember, when working on a Thomas Construction Group job, we expect the following: better than average housekeeping. Conduct yourself in a professional manner. No rude, abusive, and suggestive comments used or on clothing. If you create a hazard, you must correct it immediately and protect other workers in the area from exposure to that hazard. Place approved caps over the ends of vertical reinforcement steel bars or other objects that present an impalement hazard from falls. If at any time you are concerned with your company's safe practices or responsiveness to your safety concerns, you can report it confidentially to Thomas Construction Group management personnel so that the issue can be addressed immediately. Remember, it is your responsibility to follow all of the rules as a working member of this project and to remind your fellow workers of these safety rules. It is everyone's job to make this construction site as safe as possible. Following the orientation session, you will sign in the orientation log and our I am responsible for safety poster board. Finally, you will receive a hard hat sticker. Completion of the orientation and signing of the log and safety poster indicates you understand our safety orientation presentation and agree to comply with its contents. Welcome to our job site.